Hello, happy souls. Welcome back to my channel. This is Charlotte with Happy Twins 1111, and I'm joined today by Kay Moon, our wonderful twin flame astrologer. How are you doing, Kay?
Great. I'm happy to be here with you, Charlotte. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm so happy you could join us. So we're here to talk about the 1212 portal. I'm very excited about this. It's obviously approaching fast and furious. It'll be with us tomorrow. And I feel like this is really significant for twins, more so, I think, personally, than 1111 in some respects. And what's really interesting, and you mentioned this in your Gemini full moon video as well, this lands on a number 12 year as well, 2019 being a number 12 year, and it lands at 12:12 a.m., which is absolutely fascinating to me. And of course, 12 reduces to 3, which is the number of the divine feminine, creation and rebirth. So this is really significant because this is the portal of rebirth. That's what 1212 was about. It's a gateway to our evolution. Now, when I was chatting with my guides about this earlier, trying to get a heads up and what was going to come through for tonight's session with you, my guides asked me to connect with Angel Metatron for this video. And honestly, aside from seeing him in one of my oracle decks, I didn't really have much idea of who he is. So I managed to do a quick Google and found out that in Metatronian teachings, 1212 is actually a sacred code that activates your Markabic field. So I was absolutely fascinated that my guides had led me to this. And in sacred geometry, Metatron's cube is actually made up of 12 circles encircling one large one. And I was guided that the Markaba is actually a star within our energetic field. So before activation, the Markaba is dormant. And without activation, its energies are unable to reach their kind of full potential. So this limits our capacity for spiritual connection. So the activation of it is important. Now, what really fascinated me about this and the twin flame journey and its connection to the Markaba and the divine masculine and feminine energies is that the Markaba is actually formed of 2 pyramids, and they're kind of pointing in opposite directions to one another, so that the points are kind of stacked along 8 points. And of course, 8's number of infinity. And Markaba as a word literally translates as light, spirit, body. Absolutely mad. Now, these 2 pyramids in the Markaba, they're like fused together, but they move in opposite directions to one another, and so are completely dependent of one another. But the 2 pyramids represent the masculine and feminine energies. So the interaction between these 2 energy sources as they move in opposite directions is what gives the Markaba so much power in connecting us with the spiritual energy in our field. So when you consider that when twins come into one another's awareness, they begin to share energy. It's almost like they start charging one another up. Their light grows brighter because it's powered by 2 instead of 1. And the connection to the Markaba, therefore, was really intriguing to me. So I was also looking at the symptoms of Markaba activation, and this blew me away because this last week, I don't know about UK, but I've actually felt like I've been physically beaten up for the last few days. And some of the Ascension symptoms related to this Markaba activation, which is said to occur around the 12:12 period, is intense body aches and flu symptoms. They're really common. So if anyone's experiencing this, well, you know why now. So Metatron is he's our angel of ascension. He supports us in developing higher vibrations. So he described the Markaba as being a vehicle of ascension. It's located in our soul star chakra, and activating this is said to bring about a powerful shift in our perception of reality and our understanding of the universe and spirit. So through this 12:12 portal, what is actually happening is that we're being shifted into another matrix. Our bodies are being rewired to function at a much higher frequency, and energies that we didn't notice before will come in rapidly into sharp focus, and our evolution as light beings will just start moving at rapid pace. So this will dramatically impact that masculine and feminine interaction. And I'm hearing that our souls are actually moving into position now, literally meaning that we're merging with our counterparts. So this is union energies right here, you know, literally birthing in a new way of being and connecting more deeply to our twin soul. So, Kay, I did have a look at how this Markaba can be represented in astrology, and it suggested that it's shown as an intertwining of grand trines. And I'm dying to know if you can see anything in the stars that relates to this around this time, or if you're getting anything relating to this merging of the souls or light activations and higher energies that I've noticed.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share screen, and I can kind of show you what the chart looks like for the 12/12 full
Fantastic.
moon in Gemini. So, a couple of things that seem pertinent to share. That 12/12 full moon in Gemini is part of a larger cycle, astrologically speaking. The new moon in Sagittarius that preceded it, the most recent new moon, and this full moon both kick off. New moons begin things, and full moons end things. A new cycle, closing an old cycle, beginning a new cycle for twin flames, Gemini being the sign of the twins. And that particular cycle gets its full activation next year with the beginning of the Sagittarius and Gemini eclipse cycle. I believe the first one is on June 5th, 2020, and they roll for about a year and a half of eclipses on the Gemini and Sagittarius axis. So things begun and ending at this period of time are highly significant, as this is the beginning of a path forward for all twins in their connection. Gemini representing the two that become one in its opposing sign, Sagittarius. So up here at the top of this chart for the 12/12 full moon, you'll see the moon here at Gemini, 19 degrees. What's interesting about this full moon is, at 19 degrees, you get 1 plus 9. Now we're talking about one. We're talking about singularity here. And then the moon opposite at 19 degrees down here at the bottom of your screen in Sagittarius. This particular full moon is one that this particular ending, the signature of it comes with a lot of inconvenience. It's almost as if there is a forcing of the path forward. You don't really even have to do anything very much than just honor the truth of your heart, and things start to unfold in the order that they're meant to. Now, what's significant about that Merkaba energy that you just shared, let me go ahead and grab my annotation tool. See if I can draw a little something here that makes it clear. Let me get a good color going on here. All right, so the thing that my guides nudged me about as they were talking about this is they said, look to Uranus. Uranus is the key that unlocks this conversation. Now, for those of you that don't know the history around Uranus, and I'm pointing to Uranus here in the chart, Uranus was created by Gaia, created by the earth. Uranus was created to be Gaia's lover. And with Uranus, what you have is an energy of the divine coming to sit with her. Gaia created Uranus to be her divine counterpart, created Uranus to be her lover. She was capable of creating babies on her own, capable of running her own show, but she wanted a lover, and so she created the divine to come and sit with her. Now, what's interesting about this story is that Uranus, for many years wrapped himself around her. The heavens wrapped around the earth, and they made love and they made beautiful children. In this story, what we see here is the divine coming to sit with the earth. And anytime you have a Uranus activation, what you're looking at is Uranus bringing a divine energy into your connection. So if Uranus is talking to your sun, Uranus is bringing divine spark to your instincts. You've got Uranus talking to your Jupiter. You've got Uranus igniting your divine masculine energy. So when I looked for the Merkaba energy in this chart, the closest I could get, Merkabas are essentially 120-degree angles. They are what are known as equilateral triangles. For those of you who remember your geometry, they're all angles on all sides are 100% even. They are exactly even. And so what we've got here is, let me see if I can find something that's a little clearer to write with. We got the draw tool. Let's just see. Maybe this
you
pink will
remember
be
all the
cleaner.
geometry, because I haven't got a flipping clue.
I was good at it in school. Now I know why. So down here, every element, whether you're an earth sign or fire sign, where every element in the astrological wheel creates a 120-degree angle to the other elements in the wheel. They move around the chart in the same order. So 120 degrees from Taurus, which is where Uranus sits at this time in the sky, we have Capricorn. And if you can see down here in Capricorn, there is a lot going on. We've got a ton of energy with Jupiter just joining. And right now, at this particular moment in time, Jupiter, in the way that I read the chart, represents the divine masculine. Jupiter is getting that activation from the divine. So here is Uranus at 3 degrees Taurus under the light of this full moon. And here's Jupiter at 2 degrees Capricorn. They're sitting 120 degrees, actually 119 degrees apart from each other, but close enough. And the only thing that's missing to link this as one giant trine is what's not here out here in the sign of Virgo. So we've got nothing going on in Virgo except for what we bring to the table. Now, what's interesting about this is what we bring to the table is discernment. Discernment is what Virgo stands for. Virgo is all about dedication. It is about determination. It pays attention to the details, and it's about discernment more than anything. It's about knowing.
It makes sense as well, doesn't it?
Order.
If the portal's about rebirth and creation, you're literally creating that part for ourselves. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's exactly it. What the divine is bringing to the table is this divinity activation. What the divine has brought to the table is manifestation energy, with the masculine energy moving into the very physical manifestation sign of Capricorn. What's missing is what's living from the sky is what's not in the sky, but what's in our hearts. And it's this discernment energy. That's what we're bringing to the table to activate this full-on Markaba, or the first part of the Markaba, right? Now, let's talk about what the feminine energy is bringing to the table, or the other piece of this Markaba, I should say. So the other piece of this Markaba is what's been going on all year with the nodes. So the North Node has been hanging out in this sign of Cancer up here. I'm really not great at drawing. This is why I don't do this on my channel. I'd tell you about an isosceles triangle all day, but drawing, I don't know. I don't know if I can draw a straight line.
You're doing great.
So we have an activation energy in the water signs right now. So here's Mars down here in Scorpio at 15 degrees. Here's Neptune over here in Pisces at 15 degrees. And then up here, close but not quite, it's already past that point, is the North Node, completing our Merkaba activation, right? So
wow, this is really cool.
Right? It's funny. I wasn't even looking for this, but you said my guides told me to look. So I'm like, all right, I'll look at the chart for you. And so what's interesting about this is, let me get another color here. There we go. So there's our Merkaba in the sky. If I could draw a straight line. So there's our Merkaba.
Wow.
And so what we have here, the divine has done all of the work. The divine placed the North Node here in Cancer water sign. The divine placed Mars here in Scorpio, water sign. The divine placed Neptune here in Pisces, water sign. And we'll get to what all of these mean in a moment. And the divine placed Jupiter here in Capricorn. The divine placed Uranus here in Earth sign Taurus. The only thing that's missing and the piece of the equation that sets this whole thing off is us. Us with our discernment, us with our choices, us with our dedication to the path as twins. This is where we stand and what we bring to the conversation. We
That's
bring the
mind-blowing.
Virgoan discernment. We bring the choice point. Okay?
So it really is our choice. We really do have free will. It's like the stars can align everything for us, but
Mm-hmm.
ultimately we have to make that choice, don't we?
We have to step in to
Yeah.
that Virgoan energy and say, all right, I'm paying attention, divine. I'm paying attention to right time. That's Virgo. I'm paying attention to right order. That's Virgo. I am dedicated to the path. That is Virgo. We step into that energy, and the divine has already lined up the rest of the work for us. So, what's interesting about this is with this energy here in Capricorn and Uranus talking to all of this energy in Capricorn, what we've got is the divine prepared in these both of these earth signs, Taurus and Capricorn, to make physical in the real world that which our faith, which Jupiter brings to the table. Jupiter's faith, hope, optimism, and Jupiter just arrived in Capricorn. The divine, Uranus, is now coming forward to say what you have been hoping for, had faith in, believing upon, what you have been optimistic about. I am prepared to make that real in the 3D world. That's the earth signs, 3D world. What we've got here going, but I need you to do the 3D action, Virgo, that's going to make this possible. With this North Node, Mars and Neptune having a conversation in the water signs, the North Node for all of us at any given moment in time points the direction of growth for us. A lot of astrologers will talk about the North Node as destiny or fate or purpose. In my work, the pattern I have seen that's been most relevant to our utilization of the North Node is recognizing that it is a key. When we take on North Node behaviors, North Node attitudes, and actions, our lives get easier. Anytime life is a complete ball of wax, a complete mess, if you do what your North Node in your chart is asking you to do, your life will get simpler, things will unravel, they will get easier because the North Node represents the soul contracted life lesson that you are meant to be learning. With the collective North Node at this moment in the sky, for all of us being in Cancer, this is about learning the lessons of emotional vulnerability, emotional availability, and emotional truth. Being with the vulnerable truth, not asking it to be different, not asking it to change, and showing up with that truth, letting that truth guide our hearts and our next step. With Mars and Neptune activating this North Node by Grand Trine, we're now stepping into a conversation of looking at Mars and Scorpio. What are the blocks that I have had to letting my divine truth shine forth in the world, my emotional reality
And
be?
it's emotional growth specifically, isn't it?
That's
With that
it.
all that water, yeah.
Especially Mars, because Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, and Mars brings motivation. Mars brings passion. It brings forth energy and the capacity to have ambition and drive toward Scorpio things, which is looking under the hood, cleaning out the cobwebs, what's in the depths, what's in the dark that I have not been willing to look at. Mars is bringing the conversation to that level, and Neptune in Pisces now direct. A couple weeks ago, it was retrograde, but moving into this alignment, Neptune now direct is saying, and I now support you spiritually, because Pisces is about spirituality, Neptune, the unseen world. You now have the spiritual support to go there in a way you have not had it before. So all of these energies are aligning under this twins full moon. I call this the twin flames full moon because it's in the sign of the twins, which is the third sign of the zodiac. The divine masculine's full moon is the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. The divine feminine's full moon is the first feminine sign of the zodiac, that's Taurus. So we had the Taurus full moon just before this full moon. Now we've got the twins full moon in Gemini. This full moon is saying, okay, divine masculine, you've completed a cycle. Divine feminine, you've completed a cycle. These are the last 2 months. Now twins, together, you are completing a cycle. Step into discernment and call your shot for 2020. Name
This
it and
is
claim
so
it.
powerful, because the word I got so strongly was that this is about co-creation.
Yes.
It came through so strongly and clearly, and basically this is confirmed in the stars. It's all lining up to push us in that direction of, it really is a new beginning. It's just beautiful.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you reached out to me to ask about it, because none of this was information that was available to me as I was doing this video. And it's not, listen, it's no accident. You and I are two twins. This is the twins full moon. And it's no accident that the universe is like, and you will co-create this full moon video. No accidents.
Oh, I love this. This is so exciting. So what are you seeing about this merging of the souls as well and this co-creation? Is there anything indicated there about that?
The biggest thing has to do with like the path around it has to do with, because that's coming as we move through the Sag Gemini eclipse cycle, that is coming forward. Recall that Gemini, the younger sign in the zodiac wheel, is actually the sign that, and let me just see if I can clear all my, well, I'll leave the drawings up. Gemini is the sign that is about the two consciousnesses in two different bodies. But Sagittarius, the opposing sign in the zodiac wheel, the more mature sign, is about a singular consciousness. And so that Sagittarius new moon, and so I have that chart up. Let me just grab it. There she is, the Sagittarius new moon. Okay, I am going to have to clear those things. Let me see if I can go back to the annotations and make this whole thing clear all drawings. There we go. All right. And then let me open up the Sagittarius new moon. So this Sagittarius new moon was a new moon that signified the unity consciousness that's getting ushered into the planet at this time. Despite the fact that on planet Earth we are seeing so much like popular culture polarization, we're being fed polarization through the media. What's actually happening on the earth outside of the media for conscious human beings and conscious souls is a response to polarity called unity. And that's the evolutionary cycle from Gemini to Sagittarius. It's the double that moves into one. And that began on 11/26/2019 with this Sagittarius new moon. And we're going to start to see the ramping up of this as we move into that Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle that begins on June 5th of 2020. This was just setting the stage. It was just the preamble. This was the moment, this month, this 30-day cycle between the Sagittarius new moon and now the Gemini full moon, this 14 days, was a period of time that really opened the doors that to surface and illuminate anything that would have kept you in duplicity consciousness, that would have kept you working against yourself. And now, with what we were just seeing in the Markaba, you have to step into that discernment and call your shot for your union, for your unity consciousness in yourself. Stand in the work of that in the physical world, not just your mind, but all of this is in part taking place in earth signs. step into that and work toward it as we move to this Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle beginning in 2020.
So powerful. You know, I've just been doing a bit of the numbers, the numerology while you've been chatting. These dates here for the Sagittarius new moon add up to, well, they reduce to 1, which is the number of unity consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And the dates for the Gemini full moon reduce to 6, which is the number of unconditional love, which is 2 3s together. Which,
I just got the
the
truth chills.
Yeah, that's powerful, isn't it?
I just got the truth chills.
Oh, I love this journey. It's so magical. It's so exciting.
Very magical indeed. So can't make this stuff up. For those of you who are looking for the spiritual guidance, here it is. It's the one thing that I just want to caution about is that it's very easy with so much wonderfully spiritual energy descending upon the earth to magic thinking our way through these next steps, and when it's not happening, get mad at the universe. But we are co-creators in this, as you said. And what that chart so clearly showed is that the universe really lined up a lot of the shot. It's up to us to step into it. It's up to us to conquer our fear or our hurt and stand in the name of love and compassion instead.
I love that. So, and that's really empowering. You know, it shows us that actually we have a lot more control over our journey than we realize. That, you know, the stars are aligning to make it happen. We just need to step into our power and start making the right decisions. I absolutely love that.
100.
So the other thing that Metatron spoke about, he's a funny looking guy, by the way. He wears purple robes. I don't know if that's of interest to anybody, but that's how I see him. And he was talking about DNA structure and how when we activate this Markaba in our soul star chakra, our DNA structure is literally being upgraded. And those twins that are at the leading edges of the waves are actually therefore stepping into union energies as they activate this Merkaba. Their field is expanded, their DNA structure is upgraded, and you know that co-creation came in very, very strong. Now, co-creation was something that came up when we talked about 2020 energies a couple of weeks ago and the forecast of 2020. And I'm wondering what we can see moving forward relating to all of these upgrades, these union energies, and that idea of co-creation moving forward.
Oh, that's very interesting. Let's see.
I'm probably putting you on the spot here, aren't I?
It's a little bit, but luckily, I mean, so let me just take a look at some of my 2020 notes because I have a lot of stuff mapped out.
Yeah, we did speak about this briefly.
Yeah. Okay, right. All right. So there's every single planet next year is going to go retrograde. And the retrograde energies get the heaviest. Let me just pull this other chart out. Okay, yeah, they get the heaviest in May, and we feel the most in July, and then again in September, mainly because that's when the majority of things are going retrograde all at the same time. Specifically July, it's like everything all at once. Literally every planet, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Chiron, Juno, every significant planet that we work with as astrologers will go retrograde next year. And that is significant because numerologically speaking, we tend to think of 4 years as quite stable. However, I think what we will find next year is that it is a year that shakes things up only to create stability after.
Yes, that makes a lot more sense actually. You've got to rock the boat, haven't you, to restore balance.
Right, because not all of the chess pieces are in the right places on the board, right? Yes. And so one of the things we're going to see while that's going on, I mapped out what signs and what elements all of these planets were going retrograde in. And apparently, as I looked through all of this, The earth signs get the majority of the retrograde action. There are 4 touches in earth signs. Fire gets 2, air gets 3, water gets 1. The same one over and over again, Mercury. So much fun. But Earth getting 4 retrogrades is this. In the universe, in the galaxy, our planet is known as the planet of manifestation. It is known as the planet of free will. It is
I
known as the
love
planet
that.
where you get to choose your own adventure, choose the outcome you want to live, which is why so many people are anxious. So many beings and souls are anxious to get here,
So that
and
really
learn
ties
from
in
being
with this
here.
idea of co-creation. We are
That's
literally
it.
manifesting it ourselves. Wow.
And so, of all of the signs have manifestation energies. But the sign that's specifically about calling it out of the ether and placing it into the physical world is Capricorn. And next year, we have some very significant action going on in Capricorn. In fact, I have some astrologers joining me on my channel to talk about these once in a century kind of actions that will go on in Capricorn. So I'll just kind of show you some of those now in this new moon chart or full moon chart. Down here in the sign of Capricorn, we've got if you look at the bottom of your screen here, we've got just in the major planets alone, we've got Jupiter, we've got South Node, we've got Saturn. Right now, we've got Venus, we've also got Pluto. But if we want to add in, we've got Chariklo, we've got Ceres, and we've got Pholus. Sun is about to join at the end of this month. Pretty soon, Mars will join the action as well. It's very significant energy going on in the sign of Capricorn right now. But the biggest news is when Jupiter, expansion, and optimism touch Saturn, which is its opposite energy, which is all about constriction, endings, and restoring integrity through separation. Jupiter brings things together, Saturn separates things. Then we'll have a conversation between Saturn and Pluto. Pluto's Lord of the Underworld. Pluto is that death point in between life and the afterlife. It is the chrysalis where the caterpillar becomes the butterfly. Pluto is alchemy. It is transformation and change. With optimism and expansion and endings and integrity restored via separation, talking to alchemy and change, this is a very cosmic kind of explosion happening right here on planet Earth, right before our eyes.
It's
In
very
the
cool.
sign of manifestation, this
Wow.
can't be a clearer signal from the universe about stepping into our God-given creatorship abilities and shaping the world that we want to see and the world that we want to live in, aligned with love, aligned with light, aligned with truth going forward. So, co-creation indeed, in part by owning that we are created as creators, created in the image of the divine, that we are divine beings creating our experiences on earth as all of this unfolds in the sign of physical manifestation next year.
I love this. So, the divine feminine is the original creator. She is that spark of creation that brings forward life. But what seems to be happening here is that we're literally seeing both counterparts now moving into that creation energy and manifesting that new beginning. It's really powerful.
I love it too. What's
Yeah.
interesting about that, so in the way that I read, my guides instructed me to read Juno as the divine feminine and Jupiter as the divine masculine. For those of you who are familiar with their mythology, they were gods on Mount Olympus. Jupiter and Juno got married, but they don't have the best reputations. I'll leave you to look it up. However, what's interesting about the way they treated one another, and the reason why my guide said, read these two as the twins, they said to me specifically, they said, twin flames are here to transcend that legacy as gods on earth. They are here to rewrite that path for men and women as divine feminine and divine masculine. They are here to show humanity the right way to love and live. Now, what's fascinating is the divine feminine is now parked where she is going to park for the next 11 months. Divine masculine is now in the sign where he is going to be for the next 12 months. Now, Jupiter, the divine masculine, takes a year for every sign. That's not news. Juno, the divine feminine, is only slowed down and parked here in Libra for an 11-month stay, specifically because she's going to go retrograde back and forth, apparent motion from the Earth. But what's fascinating about this is that in classic astrology, Juno represents partnership. She is known as the marriage asteroid. She's sitting in the sign of partnership, the sign that governs marriages. Not only that, but Libra is also known as the balance point in the sky among ancient astrologers. It is known as the midpoint of the zodiac. If there's ever been a moment in time where we are asked to push toward the love and the light to call our shot, this is it, light workers. This is it. Our journey as twins is so much bigger than just, can we get with our twin? Does our twin want us? Are they thinking about us? Our journey as twins is really a journey about setting a new path for human beings on earth, a new path around love, a new path around partnership and marriage. And this 2020 year is the year in which we are stepping into physicalizing that path for other people to see. Whether you're with your twin or not, in communication, separation, who knows what position you're in, it's the activation you got via unconditional love as a divine feminine that is calling this back into balance for those on planet Earth. It's externalizing that unconditional love in your family, creating a family structure that is representative of the maturity and wisdom of unconditional love. It's about creating a work life that is representative of unconditional love, etc., across your life. The divine masculine is doing the same thing. The divine feminine sits in the sign of balance. So she's looking to create balance over the course of the next 11 months. The divine masculine is going to make this unconditional love physical in the external world over the next 12.
That's so powerful, because when we talked about the grids and the masculine bid being grounded in the earth and the divine feminines literally moving, and I mean, I've had true shivers all the way through you explaining this, because that was the same download I have, that we're here to roll out a new template of love, to teach people how to love, to teach unconditional love. And so what you're essentially describing is that the divine feminine, with or without her twin in physical union, is moving into that mission of light work and spreading love. And the masculine is literally grounding it into that earth-based grid. That's just absolutely magical.
That's absolutely right. And so these series of moons, we had the new moon in Aries back in Libra season. So that would have been, I guess, September or October. We had the divine masculine's new moon. That's when he started his new cycle. The divine feminine started her new cycle, new moon in Taurus. That's the first feminine sign of the zodiac. Then we have the twins, new moon, or sorry, not new moon. These were all full moons. End cycle, end cycle, end cycle. I stand corrected. That was during Sagittarius season, the twins full moon. We're closing out those old ways of ghosting, of tit for tatting. Well, you didn't call me back, so I'm not calling you back. We're closing out non-compassion. We're closing out generational patterns. Grandma cheated, granddad cheated, great-grandparents cheated, everybody's cheating. We're closing that out. so that we can start a new way forward with compassion and with love and with balance.
That's so powerful. Thank you so, so much. This has been so insightful and it's just so reaffirming. I mean, we're really
Yeah,
on the same
right?
page with this, and yet coming at it from completely different angles and perspectives. It's just so interesting to see how it all collides in the middle and syncs or merges so beautifully. It's just magical. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to do this with you and share these
Oh,
messages.
it's been wonderful. And just for those of you guys listening, I will be doing a guided meditation tomorrow night. It's at 11 p.m. GMT. You can find the info on my community YouTube page. And we will be activating our Markaba star within our field. So I'll be guiding you to do that live. If you're not able to catch the live, you can watch it on the playback. So everybody is welcome. I'm so, so excited to share this with you. Meditating as a collective and working together in that manner is powerful in itself, but on such a significant date in the twin flame calendar, and given what we've just understood and learned in terms of what's happening astrologically also, I'm absolutely certain it's going to be intense. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. But before we go, Kate, how can our lovely viewers get a reading with you if they need to
Such
look
a
at their own
pleasure for you to
charts?
ask. Thank you for asking. So you can email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com. You'll get an autoresponder first that explains what's in a reading, the cost, and how to set one up with me. You might want to double check your spam folder if you're not seeing it right away. It comes within 30 seconds of sending your email, and then I'll respond to you personally if you have any questions within 24 hours, 48 hours to answer any of your questions. I also would like to share that my guides have given me a meditation as well. It's so funny. You and I are really on the same
Yay!
page. That they were like, we want you to roll this out. So they've been showing me this meditation for about the last 4 years. I've been working with this particular meditation. It is an unconditional love Christ consciousness meditation. So it's one that activates
Nice.
the energy of unconditional love for your chakras, and calls it into your field so that you can move or hold that vibration, get accustomed to holding that higher vibration, and that higher vibe energy. It also is a meditation that removes lower vibrational energies from your field via your own command. So they were like, look, for the 12/12, this is what we want you to do. 12 days of that meditation live on your channel with people. So
Oh,
just
that's
come on
beautiful.
over to my community section. You'll see the details there. These are the 12 days prior to the final eclipse of this year. The final eclipse will be on December 25th. It's a solar eclipse.
Wow.
And so we'll be marking the return of the light with this. We'll also move right through the solstice, and bring Christ-like consciousness, unconditional love into our own fields as we roll into the second half of the year. If you're in the northern hemisphere, it's a return to the light. If it's a southern hemisphere, you'll be taking unconditional love, light consciousness into the dark half of the year. So you're welcome to join me. Find that in the community section of my channel.
Oh, thank you so much. That sounds absolutely amazing. I'm so invested in the power of the collective consciousness and how powerful these meditations, together are. So that just sounds perfect, especially for this period. So I will definitely be there. Thank you for sharing. One quick
Absolutely.
question about
Yes.
astrology, because I noticed when I was on your live stream the other day,
Mhm.
people want to know, do they have to have their twins' actual time of birth, and what information can you still give them? Because I know a lot of people are concerned about how this reading of the charts works if they don't have that information.
That's such a great question. So, the time of birth is what signifies a rising sign and provides house placements in a chart. If you are missing the time of birth, you still have, for the most part, the precise location of all the planets and the planets' location to one another, because the degrees in the sign don't change. And it's the house placements that let you know which area of life a particular energy could be occurring in. So you might have an energy of an ending. Well, which of the 12 houses is that ending occurring in? Is it occurring in work, siblings? Is it occurring in higher education, relationships? That's what you need. That's what you get with the birth time, is understanding where in a person's life certain energies are occurring. However, I have come to notice, because about, I'd say 80 to 90% of my clients do not have their twins' birth time. Oftentimes, because astrology is so precise and it doesn't want you to miss it if it is important, something you, even if you don't have the birth time, it's not even, you don't even have to worry, because the planets are still having conversations with each other about an ending or a beginning, regardless of which house it's in. The planets are having such precise conversations with one another that the message still comes through anyway. So
perfect. So it's just not essential then, is it? You can still get so much information and so much kind of useful perceptions of what's coming and what's being, when you're just looking at the natal chart without birth
absolutely,
time. Perfect.
absolutely.
But I get asked that all the time, so I thought I'd throw that out there so everyone can have some clarity. Well, thank you so much. I've really, really, really enjoyed this. It's been so insightful. I'm excited to get together with you for your meditations. And just a reminder for everyone, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can check out my website, happysouls1111.com. I will be available from mid-January. I'm pretty booked up until then at the moment. I'm going to be reducing the number of readings I'm doing this next year, because I'm focusing more on teaching and classes. You can find those on my website as well. So if you want to grab a reading with me, jump in now, because that's quickly filling up, and I'm excited to meet you. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Kate.
You're
You're
welcome.
amazing. So thank you so much. This has been absolutely magnificent. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Okay, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you soon.
Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye
You
for now.
too. Bye.